Hey guys, I believe I am live. I'm just trying to see what's going on my end of things. Give me 1 second. Just trying to understand how this live thing all works. But if you're here, thank you so much for being here. And hi, Depeche, how are you? Basically today I just wanted to have a really fun and helpful chat for you guys. I don't know. Making learning fun is something that's definitely a bit of a struggle sometimes, but I try my hardest on making sure that it's as entertaining as possible, and so that you guys can kind of understand how English can relate to you, and also see that it's not just some subject that's being taught in school and that you're forced to do, but something that is actually a lot more fun. Anyways, that's my tangent. So thank you so much for joining, everyone. I see so many of you on here. If you guys haven't said hi yet, make sure you say hi. I can see quite a few of you. And so I know that last week, or maybe that was the week before, I posted a new video out there asking what you guys wanted answered. So any questions you had, I left it really general just to get a better sense of pretty much your headspace. In the future, I think if we continue to do more live stream videos, I'm going to make them into categories or into particular topics, so that when you come back and watch it later, or if you've missed out, then you know exactly what I'll be covering rather than just like a little bit of everything. But basically, right now in Australia, in Victoria specifically, exams are coming up for VC English. So that means my Year 11s and my Year 12s, particularly my Year 12s, are starting to go into their final week of studying for English. So I just wanted to spend a little bit of my time on a Sunday afternoon with you guys answering any of your questions. Now, in the video that I had released either the week before or last week, I can't remember, a few of you actually left quite a few questions. So I'm going to start off with those. But if you've got any questions as we go, then feel free to ask. Also, I know that you haven't seen this setup before. Tell me what you think. Do you like it? I'm just kind of sick of my couch right now. I'm sick of the colors, and I need something new. And I thought, what better way to kind of steer the room towards more so things that are pretty much related to the channel, which are books. So I'm not going to show you my whole bookshelf right now. There's actually more over there, but because it's quite messy, I will show you guys at one point, because I think I really do have quite a growing number of books that are in my room. Anyways, so thank you guys. Please show your bookshelf. Okay, maybe I'll do a video on that next time. Oh, thank you guys. Okay, there's so much going on here. I'm just gonna take my time and get through them. So I did promise that I'd go through the videos I would go through the questions that were asked of me in the video that I had released. So I'm gonna go through a few of those, and then I'll start going through the questions that you guys are asking me now. Sorry, I'm kind of getting distracted just by like all the chat that's going on. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a question from someone I know in person, and that's Ahana's question. And she asked something really great, and that's, how do you actually study smarter rather than harder? So studying smarter rather than harder, I guess, can sound quite vague. Essentially, it's the idea that you don't want to just keep studying really hard. And by really hard, we mean doing more hours or doing things more intensely and just more. Because often when we do more of something, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's as effective. So my favorite way of explaining this is, have you guys ever, had a entire Saturday where you've gone to yourself, you know what, I'm going to spend this entire Saturday getting this assignment done, because you haven't started it and it's going to take you, I don't know how long, but it's due on Monday and you need to get it done. So you put aside the entire Saturday, and the Saturday starts off and you go, you know what, I've still got the entire day, let me have some breakfast. So you go and have some breakfast, girl, okay? And then you kind of like dawdle around a little bit, maybe get started into your assignment, set up your desk space, and then you realize, oh, maybe I'll do a little bit of cleaning. So then you start to do a little bit of that, and so eventually you get into the assignment, but you have allocated so much time to your assignment that you're not actually being effective with your studying. And so that's kind of allocating more time to something, and that's one form of studying harder. But really, should you have, done all these things in the morning, maybe you had to go out with your parents to help them get the groceries, or you have a school competition that goes on in the afternoon and you only have 3 hours in the evening to smash out this assignment, you're going to use that 3 hours a lot more efficiently. And that's kind of my way of thinking of studying smarter. There are heaps of other methods of studying smarter. So for example, not just necessarily churning out essay after essay after essay, but, knowing where your weaknesses are and focusing on that instead. So maybe it's just a matter of breaking down prompts, or it's a matter of going through a particular chapter that you're really unsure about. So it's that idea that you don't just do something for the sake of doing it to make it feel like you're studying a lot, but you're doing things smarter. That's it. Okay, hopefully that was helpful. What else do we have? Ooh, this is a really good question. It's from Maya Zing. Thanks for asking, Maya. Or is it Maya? Maya? I'm not sure. I think it's Maya. If there is a quote in the prompt, should you use it? So if you have an essay topic and there's a quote from somebody inside the text or inside the film that you're studying, and do you basically include that in your essay? So I always tell my students that they really should include the quote inside their essay. Don't include it in the introduction and just forget about it. So don't just chuck it in as a passing comment, because I don't think that's really adequately answering the entirety of the prompt. Because if you think about it, if your quote makes up pretty much 50% of the prompt, I personally feel like it's a cop-out if you don't answer it or don't include it in your essay, and also if you only chuck it in your introduction where you just kind of like blitz through it but don't actually go into detail with it. So what I always recommend is try to include the quote somewhere in your body paragraphs. Now, you might not be sure who said it, you might not be sure when it was said, but I'm sure you'll still kind of get a general gist of what themes and what ideas are related to it. So if you can get that general gist at the very least, you can elaborate it on to some degree, and that's what I believe is the best way to tackle it. Okay? There's no harm in including the quote inside your essay, but I see that there potentially could be harm if you don't include it in your essay. You see what I mean? It's all about strategy. Okay, let's see what else we have. Okay. A few of you asked many questions, so I'm just trying to pick out like one question per person, just so that I have time to answer everyone who is live right now. If you are live right now, let me know how I'm going. Are you enjoying this? Thank you so much for being here. Okay. This is a great one. It's from Violet Rosalie. Thanks for asking, Violet. You have 3 thumbs up as well. So I feel like a lot of people are asking what you, or want to know what you're asking. And that's, hey Lisa, was just wondering, what did you do the day before your exam? And any advice on what should we do the day before our English exam? Okay, so I recommend that you do not study the day before your English exam. And I personally didn't do it. I just feel like your day before the exam should be a day where you kind of take a break. You either spend it kind of consolidating all of your knowledge. So, sure, if you really wanted to kind of go for it and still dig into your things, I'd say, look over your quote bank or flick over through whatever chapters that you're unsure about. But I think honestly, I feel like with English, you should know what you're planning to do the next day. And so any last minute study is not necessarily going to be that effective for you. English, again, it's not like it's not like a subject where it's just rote learning and memorization and then you can just store it into your short-term memory, go into your exam tomorrow and then just kind of get through it. I feel like English is really progressive and you really just need time to sink it all in. So I would not study the day before and just use that time to just pamper yourself. So whether that's, going out, doing something totally that just takes you off the mind of the exam, then do that. But I think it comes down to making sure that you feel confident and you do things that make you feel good about yourself. So if that does mean that you want to look over your quotes list because it's what's going to make you feel reassured and ready for tomorrow, then do that. So I feel like everyone's a little bit different, but that's the take-home message there. That's pretty much it. That's what I do the day before. Okay, what's happening next? So I've got Bangyan Jin. I know that you comment on a lot of my videos, so thank you for asking this, and I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce your name right. But you asked, hey Lisa, how do you prepare for tests 1 to 2 weeks before the actual test? So we've talked about what you should do the day before your exam or your test or whatever it is. But what do you do 1 to 2 weeks before? So let's just say that this is English because I'm an English guru. I have all these books over here, including my book. Woohoo! See that yellow one and the blue one? They're mine. I co-authored them with 2 other amazing girls. So I would recommend that you firstly start off with revision, right? We always need to start with revision, just going from top to bottom, what we need to cover for this particular test. We also want to make sure that we know and understand what is being tested. So there's no point studying on something that is not going to be tested on, right? I mean, it's pretty straightforward. So there's that. I know that's just kind of like the making sure you set the right foundations before you go ahead. Then I would go ahead and while you're doing your revisions, you'll start to feel and understand where you're not as confident in. And it is these weaker points that I would want you to focus on. There's this whole thing where if you keep studying something that you're already good at, so let's just say that this is the threshold, right? And you're like over here, and this is as good as you can get. This is like the A+, right? But you're like here. If you're already really good at something, there's only so much improvement that can be made. Cool? But if you're really lacking in it and it's just an area that you're really not that good at and you're all the way down here, that difference in what you can improve is huge. And so that's another, going back to the whole studying smarter, not harder, I think that's a fantastic way to study and utilize your time wisely. With English in particular, especially for any Year 12 students listening right now, I would say please make sure that you're not just writing essays. There are so many things you can do. Look and try to find the hardest essay topics out there, break them down, see what you can come out with, because the scary ones are the ones that you need to be doing. because we don't want those scary ones to be scary anymore by the time you're actually in your exam. Then make sure you go ahead and do plans. So we don't all feel like writing every single day, and that's absolutely fine, but we can use our brains. So using our brains in a different way by writing down plans, testing our understanding of the book, realizing where some areas we probably could understand more, then going and revising that, and then returning and doing more plans. That's a really positive way to go about things. I feel like when you just churn out essays, it's just, you feel like you're doing a lot because you're writing, but are you actually improving that much? Think about it. Think about it. Take a second. Ding. Do, 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 do. Okay. Do you guys know that song? It's Snoop Dogg. Okay. So I'm going to go through some of the live questions now. If you did leave a comment on my video, I'm sorry if I haven't answered it. I'm trying to find the ones that are most relevant to everybody. Okay. So we've got, hi Rachel. Hi Rika. Ooh, Shanga? Is that right? Congratulations on your first A grade of the year. You said that watching the oral presentation video was great. That's on my channel. I'm so glad that was helpful. Okay. Ooh, a few of you have asked me about this question. Do you have advice for actually. Okay. So I've kind of answered a few of your questions indirectly about how to revise for English in the prior weeks before your exam, what to do the day before. I'm going to answer a few more specific English questions, and then I'm going to open up to be a bit more general as we finish off. Okay. So, how do you revise English quotes from Susanna Liu? Great question. Don't. I don't know. This is just like a scrap piece of paper. But please do not write down a list of all the quotes you need to remember from here down to the bottom and have an entire page full of quotes. Or even an entire book full of quotes, because that's not how you're going to memorize your quotes. It's not a study smarter kind of thing. So what I would recommend is, firstly, shorter quotes are always better. So if there's possibility that your quote does not need to be an entire sentence, it can just be a phrase or even one word, cool, go for those. Second thing, practicality is always a really good way to ensure that something is committed to your brain. So when you start writing essays and you start integrating your quotes into essays, you will start to find that you just remember them naturally because you've used it before. And that's something that I guess like once you apply it to paper and you're actually using your skills with quotations, that's a really good way of memorizing quotes without actually just kind of like staring at the paper and like trying to memorize it. So I'd really try to think about, how could I incorporate this quote into sentences, and potentially like, even if you didn't want to write essays, you could just write up sentences with the quote inside them. So practice using the quote. That is my go-to method on how to memorize quotes. And that's what I did. And you know what? I didn't need to memorize like 50 quotes. I didn't need to memorize 30 quotes. I think I had maybe around 20 quotes. I don't know if that sounds like a lot, but keep in mind that these 20 quotes were super short. So I had around 20 quotes that were in my like usual bank that I would go for. So you don't need a lot. You just need the ones that you feel comfortable with, that you usually use all the time in your essays. And what you could do is try to look at lots and lots of different essay topics before you go into your exam, so that you can see which quotes you tend to use more often or what types of quotes are missing. So maybe a quote that matches a particular theme that you just haven't got any quotes for, then you'll know that you need to find those. Okay, cool. What else? Loving the new setup. Oh, thanks. That's cool. You know what? I feel like YouTubers always have such pretty backgrounds, and usually they have fairy lights or they've got a very monochrome look. And with me, like, I'm just your typical nerd and I just have lots of books. And, you know, I'm not necessarily super fancy because, I don't know, like aesthetics are great, but I guess what's more important to me is just kind of the content that I'm putting out there and what I'm actually reading. So I'm glad that you guys like it. That's cool. I'll try to clean it up and then make it look a little bit better. You guys like the flowers. That's cute. Okay. What's the best way to be focused when you want to prepare for an exam? By Edleen K.A. So being focused is something that I feel can be quite challenging for a lot of people. Firstly, I would say if you're just not feeling it that day or that hour, go ahead and do something else. Sometimes you just have like excess energy and like either you're just like buzzing about something or you just really want to check your Instagram or you just really want to check this and that. I would actually just go out there and just get it out. Get it out of your system. Go check your Instagram. Go check your Snapchat. Get rid of all them notifications. You know, go eat if there's like a Tim Tam that's waiting for you in the kitchen. Tim Tams are Australian snacks. And you just really want to go for it. Just go. Just do it. Okay? Once you've done it, then I feel like you've kind of got a little bit more like calmness within you and then you can kind of hit the books. I would also say that you don't have to focus for really long periods of time. So you don't have to sit there for 5 hours and just blitz through your work because that is not how our brains work. Our brains, just like our bodies, can be on and then they need to be off. So switch on, switch off. And you need to kind of understand how your body is feeling and listen to your body. So one really good technique that they use is the Pomodoro technique, where you study for 20 minutes, 5 minutes, take a break. Study for 20 minutes, 5 minutes, take a break. So I'd recommend you trying to find out what works for you best. I know for me personally, my focus is something that is easy to do if I've got something, like if I've got a goal. So if I've said to myself, okay, I'm going to finish these 2 pages within the hour, then I'll just do that. If I say to myself, okay, I need to complete my book, which is so true, I had like a 5-day deadline and I just said to myself, okay, I'm just going to allocate 3 full days. I'm going to write out everything, revise everything, edit everything, put everything into the proper layout, and that's how I did it. So yeah, I hope that helps. I feel like everyone's a little bit different. You just gotta find your own little thing. Okay, cool. It's Sunday, so I'm a little bit like very excited, and I'm very excited to talk to you guys. Okay, really great question. So Jasmine Luthra asks, hey, tips for comparative for Ransom and Invictus. I want to tell you something that I've picked up from a lot of my students. So this is for anyone who's comparing 2 books when they do an essay. And, you know, a lot of people ask, how many similarities should I write about? How many differences should I write about? Should they be balanced? Do I need to make sure that they're equal? And I always say that the last thing that you need to think about, the least of your concerns, is creating that balance. So, you know, trying to find 2 similarities and 2 differences, don't worry about it. What I think is most important is making sure that you answer the prompt well, and then the similarities and differences will come naturally. And I know that, like, I'm not giving you anything specific about Ransom and Invictus, but I just kind of want to share this about reading and comparing, or compare and contrast, which is what some schools call it. I also wanted to point out that in reading and comparing, if you have similarities, and like I feel like this is a hack, right? If this is a similarity between two things, so let's say in Invictus you've got Mandela who's driving change, then in Ransom you've got Priam who's also driving change. I'm just going to say this in really generic terms so that everyone can understand. Although you have two people, two protagonists who are both similar in the sense that they're driving change, this similarity starts to diverge when we start to go more detail. So we see differences in their rationale behind why they're trying to do something different. We understand their personalities as something that's different, their motivations, their history, that all becomes different. So no matter what, think about when you have similarities, go deeper into them and see how they diverge. That's my personal hack for reading and comparing. I hope that's helpful. Okay. How are you guys finding this live video? Do you guys like it? Should I do more? Is Sunday a good time for you guys? Let me know. What's my age? What do you think? Oh, take a guess, take a guess, take a guess. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, so we've got Isa, Mikey. Sorry if that's wrong. What's your advice on forming a contention in a short period of time? So whenever we break down essay topics, we need to make sure that we have a very clear contention. Just to take a step back, a contention is essentially an overall idea, your opinion, your point on the essay topic. Now, I feel like when it comes to forming a contention quickly, of course it does take practice. In fact, that's just something that, I can't just tell you, like, do this and then bang, it's going to be sweet. It's definitely going to have to take you a little bit of time to make sure that you get things sped up. So practice is one. But I think the second one is, honestly, have a look at the prompt and develop your own opinion. And I feel like a lot of students kind of lack in this. So a lot of students don't really have a solid opinion on their book. They don't necessarily agree or disagree with what the book is saying. But I feel like in order to form a strong contention quickly, it has to be innate. It has to come from inside of you. So I feel like if you look at the book in a new light where you're kind of going, oh, do I like what this book is saying? Like, do I like the messages? Do I like the protagonist? Or do I not agree with the protagonist? I think that's when you're going to come to finding a contention much quicker. It's also going to be more genuine, so that when it comes to writing your essay, it's going to be better flowing and it's going to make more sense. And also, I like essays that tend to not just completely agree. Like, you can completely agree, but I know that everyone's like, oh, should I just sit on the fence? For me, I think sitting on the fence is a kind of like a cop-out option. Yes, you can sit on the fence, but then at the end of the day, you're not really saying if you agree or disagree with the topic, or if you really have an opinion. And as examiners, or as like teacher that's reading your text or reading your essay, I'd really like to know your thoughts, and I'd like to see if you agree or disagree with this. So even if it's a discuss question, I would say try to say something or like lean towards one side of the argument. Okay. Whew. Oh, Mikkel, you bought my books a few weeks ago and they were super helpful. Oh, thank you so much. I am so glad. You know what, I'm just going to tell you guys. I was going to tell you guys later on, but those two books, sorry, you know what, I'm just going to show you them here. They're going to be sold in bookstores soon. So it's just going to be like educational bookstores, not like your Dimox or I don't know, what bookstores out there these days? It's really sad because a lot of bookstores have closed down. Oh, like Readers, it's more for your where you go to buy your school books. So I'm so excited. Teachers have given heaps of positive feedback. Students have given heaps of positive feedback. So I think that's really helped in us getting it into bookstores. So thank you so much. Okay. Ooh, Leanne, hi, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while. So, yes, the question is, can we confer to our dictionary during reading time? So, basically, for the English exam for Year 12s, they have 15 minutes at the start where they can read through their exam but not write. Use this time to get into your dictionary. It's beautiful, beautiful timing to do that. Don't just wait until writing time actually starts. I'd just get started straight away. And then that way you can actually start brainstorming during reading time. You understand exactly what the prompt is about, and there's no delay in getting you actually writing by the time writing time starts. Thanks for asking. Oh my gosh, guys, there are so many questions here. I don't know where to... Okay. Thanks, guys. You guys are saying congratulations. Ooh, you guys are having conversations. This is awesome. Good to see. Okay. Yes, I am 27. The other day, I walked into Kathmandu, which is an adventure shop, and he said to me that I could join the membership, which usually costs $10 for people who aren't students. And he asked me, "Are you a student?" And I said, "No, I'm not a student." But then he said, "Oh, awesome! You know, that student life, so great. I'm going to get you that membership for free now because that's what we do." And I think he just didn't hear me. But I mean, yeah. So I kind of just got it for free. Yeah. So, yeah. I'm sorry, Kathmandu, but I will buy things from you. So, thank you for letting me register for free. But yes, that's a bonus for Asian jeans. Woohoo! 1 for Lisa, 0 for Kathmandu, as of right now. But I will be in your store. Okay. See what else you got. Okay. How can I write a good plan in the exam? So when it comes to writing plans, have I shown you guys before my plans? I don't actually think I have. Oh, no! not allowed to show you the bookshelf until I fix it. Okay, so I'm just gonna try and see if I can find it, but if I can't, then it's okay. So basically, when it comes to writing plans, you don't have to write full sentence plans. It's just totally unnecessary. Your plan is for you, especially if it's in the exam period. So even if it's just a matter of writing dot points of just what you need to know, then do that. I think plans is something just for you, but you need to be efficient. So try to get that down. Try to get all your thoughts down on paper ASAP. Oh my gosh, I'm talking so much I made myself cough. Okay, so one hack, my personal hack, is I would bring different colored pens into the exam, and I would basically write my plans out with different colors. So, in my plan, I had body paragraph 1, like my idea, body paragraph 2, my idea, body paragraph 3, my idea. And then I'd kind of chuck in a couple of quotes that I thought that I would use, or that I would definitely use because I wanted to. But then one thing that I always believed to be really important in year 12 was to refer to meta language. So meta language, in case you guys have not watched the meta language video, is basically when you talk about symbols or metaphors or character development, setting, like all that kind of stuff. And so I always thought it was super important to make sure I included that. So I would write down the symbol in a different color within my plan so that in each body paragraph I could see that there was a bit of green, like I'd write it in green pen, a bit of green, which meant that I had satisfied the criteria for meta language, right? If you want to satisfy the criteria of making sure you talk about the author's message, then write it in red, because that way you can take a step back, look, okay, not literally take a step back because you'll be sitting, but you lean back, look at your plan, and then say to yourself, it from a more holistic point of view, okay, in every body paragraph I have covered green, meta language, and red, which is the author's message. So that's a really cool go-to tip for you. Okay. The Dragster 88 says, Lisa, I'm not worried for exams, but feel like I should be. Look, I feel like some people get super stressed, some people are moderately stressed, and some people aren't really stressed at all. And it's okay, but I guess just try to understand why you're feeling like that. So if you're not feeling worried for the exam because you feel like you studied enough and you feel like you kind of know your stuff, then awesome, that's a fantastic thing to feel. If you, though, really unsure about the exam, you don't really feel like you're on top of things, but you're not worried, potentially is that a form of procrastination? Are you just kind of like tricking yourself into going, it's going to be fine, don't worry about it, it's going to be cool? Just kind of understand why you're feeling like this, and I think that will kind of help you make sense of it all. Hope that's helpful. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So the dragster, the dragster 88 goes, yeah, it is procrastination. So yeah, if it's procrastination, like it's okay if you're not feeling worried. I think you just have to understand that your exam is coming up and that you should establish some goals to at least try to get some stuff done so that by the time you get to the exam, even if you're still not feeling worried, you can look back and say to yourself, you know what, I have done this amount of work, and so therefore, like, not feeling worried is something that you deserve. I hope that kind of makes sense. Okay. And Rachel Stevens says, I've lost my motivation in the last few weeks. Oh, don't worry. I lost my motivation too, and I just got so sick of studying. Just remember that, your exam, it comes up in a few weeks. So think about the timing as a way to motivate yourself. You don't have that much longer, but also just remember that, again, you don't have to study 24/7. If there's a way for you to kind of take a break, get out there, go watch a movie, go hang out with friends, maybe who aren't studying year 12 with you. Just try to do something that takes your mind off studying. I think once your mind is off studying elsewhere where you can kind of enjoy your time away, you come back feeling so much more refreshed and reinvigorated. So that's just my way to try to initiate that momentum for motivation. Alrighty. Okay, I'm going to answer a few more like kind of general ones as we're leading into the latter half of this live Q&A. So guys, should I do another live Q&A? Let me know. What do you think? Yes? Nay. Yes? Nay. And how often would you like me to do them? I'm thinking of doing them maybe once a month in replacement of a video that I would release, but I'm not 100% sure yet. So definitely your feedback will be incredibly helpful. Ooh, you're all saying yes! Yes! Do you guys want them on Sundays? Do you like Sundays? Or do you like it other times, like after school, on Saturdays? Let me know. Okay. Let's see. This is a question from Lily L. What's the difference between English language and literature? I actually have a video on that, so if you wanted to go ahead and watch it, then feel free to. I'm super biased, and I think that English and literature are my favorites. Okay. Cool. Oh. Okay. So a few of you are asking questions about your subjects and which subjects you should do. Oh, guys, honestly, don't choose subjects just because they scale up. So in our system, in the VC system, subjects scale up depending on kind of like, I could go into detail with it, but I'm just going to generalize it and say if it's a harder subject, then often it scales up, okay? Please don't yell at me if that's the wrong explanation. I know it's not the exact right one, but I'm not going to spend 20 minutes talking about the standardization system. But yeah, what's the point in doing a subject that scales up and is harder, but you might not necessarily do as well in it? And also, I feel like you should just do subjects that you like. Do subjects that you like and that you will be good at, because it's the subjects that you're good at that will ultimately get you your score, whether or not they get scaled up or down. If you're going to be good at something, you're going to kill it. And so I think that's kind of where your focus should be. I did specialist maths, which is the advanced maths, and I sucked at specialist maths. I hated it. Yeah, I just didn't understand it. And towards the end, I didn't even study for it at all. And I think I got like just a little bit above average, and then I got it scaled up like 10 or something, which was cool. But at the end of the day, like it didn't really matter anyway because it was going to be in my bottom 2 subjects. Like it wasn't really going to count that much towards my final score. So that's kind of just like an explanation to show that I personally feel like you should go for subjects that you are keen on, that you personally will enjoy, and that you will be good at. Yes, so true. So we're talking about prerequisites now, about getting into universities. That's actually something I didn't mention just before. So thank you for mentioning that for Mickle and Lolly Kills. Yes, prerequisites matter. So if you know what you want to do in university, then just make sure that you know what subjects you should be doing in order to get into your desired course in the future. If you don't know and you'd like to keep your options open, then make sure you do subjects that will help you keep your options open. So for me, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and so I chose English. I mean, you have to choose English, math methods, which is the normal methods, and then chemistry. And that kind of like helped me open up a lot of windows, especially in the health science field. So yeah, that was helpful. Why is English compulsory? From Mahays? Mahays? Oh, I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Should I even attempt your last name? Vasantha Kumar. Is that okay? Why is English compulsory? You know, that's a great question. And you could probably ask the government, but they probably don't have time to answer you. So I'm going to answer you instead. Look, I think English is compulsory because we live in an English-speaking country. So it's important that we have the English skills, because English is not just about reading a couple of books and writing essays on them, as much as that's what a lot of students might think when you're in high school. When you actually leave high school, you'll realize how much English actually plays into your everyday life. English is super important for communication skills. And that means when you get into the workforce and you're talking to all different types of people, people who aren't your friends, people like your boss that you need to, uh, what's the word? Yeah, I can't think of the word, doesn't matter. But people like your boss or your co-workers, or, you know, even the favorite cafe that you go to, whatever, in real life, after school, you need to have those communication skills, because that's what's going to really, really help in just everything. Not just communication skills, it helps with your critical thinking. And man, I could talk about critical thinking for ages, but I feel like this is something that is not spoken about in schools, and that's why you guys don't understand. I mean, if you understand, sweet. But like, if you have heard of critical thinking before, let me know. But if you haven't, let me explain to you. And like, the reason why I say this is because I didn't know what critical thinking was when I was in school. I had no idea until many, many years later, and then it finally clicked. Like, holy crap. I mean, what? I wasn't going to swear. You start... bleh. Sorry, I'm getting too excited. So critical thinking is essentially when you can think about things and challenge what's being said, or think about it in your head in a way where you're just not just solely agreeing with what someone else is saying. Like, you actually have your own opinions, you have your own thoughts, and you're not afraid to show it. And so, you know, why do you write essay topics about books? Because you read these stories in these books, and these questions, these essay topics, ask you for your opinion about what you think. Why do we do oral presentations? To help you with the communication skills, but also to help you develop argumentative skills, so that when you get out there and, I don't know, what's a good example of arguing? I don't know. But if you need to argue with someone, you've got the skills to do that, and you've got the logical thinking to be able to stand your ground. And I think that's incredibly important, and something that not all subjects teach. It is something uniquely special to English, and so therefore I love English, and I hope you guys do too. Honestly, 1984, the reason why I love that book is because it taught me critical thinking. I was exposed to a dystopian world where essentially people have to follow this one person and they're not even allowed to speak their minds. They're not even allowed to, they don't even, like, they can't learn about history. They don't have vocabulary to express themselves. And that's just the scariest thing that could ever happen to any of us, really, because we love freedom of speech and we love being able to talk our minds and share our ideas and opinions. So, yeah. Also, the other really good thing is language analysis or analyzing argument, which is basically where we read articles and anything in the media and try to understand how they persuade. Why do you think that you'll see, Lululemon advertisements on TV? Why do you think you'll see advertisements for the latest Tim Tam that's available in the supermarket? When we start to understand the rationale behind this, you don't get as easily sucked up in it all. So, yeah. So, why doesn't English have a checkpoints book? Because you have my book. Okay, that was a direct plug, but yeah, I don't know why they don't have checkpoint. I mean, I don't know why checkpoints doesn't have an English book, but okay. Okay, you guys are making friends. This is super cute. Okay. I think, okay, this is going to be the last question that I'm going to answer for the day. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Okay, so the question comes from Ahana. I started with you. I'm going to finish off with you as well. And so the question is how to come up with an original interpretation of a novel. So my teacher says you can score higher if you have something that no one else has thought of. This is so true. And I was trying to explain this to one of my students yesterday. It's really hard, I know, for you to try to come up with an idea that no one else has. Especially if it's a book that has been done and done over and over again. Everyone's done it all over the world, many, many years. But an original idea doesn't necessarily have to be something completely new. Just remember that. It doesn't have to be something no one else has ever thought of before. It can be an idea that we all know about, but you twist the way that you discuss it. So if you have a unique way of talking about that idea from your own perspective, then that's where that uniqueness will come into things. So that's why I always emphasize that you having a personal opinion on your text is what's going to get you through English and doing really well. Because when you have a personal opinion, it really shows in your essays. And when you write it down on paper, it's your own way of expressing your thoughts, right? Not just someone else's thoughts, not just someone else who's written a study guide, or not just someone else who has written an essay and chucked it up online so everyone else has read it, or not just on Shmoop or Spark Notes, because that's where it's super generic. If you can come back and kind of explain it in your own way, then that's sick. So, for example, even it comes down to your type of evidence that you're using. There might be this one quote that everyone uses when they discuss this particular theme. Why don't you try to find another quote from somewhere else in the book where no one really talks about it, and that quote will probably have some nuances, something special about that quote that is still linked to that theme, but enables you to talk about it slightly differently. Okay? Okay, cool. So guys, thank you so much for being here today. Please let me know, how did you find this session? You like it? You don't like it? I don't know if you guys have a thumbs up or not, but Lolly Kills, thank you so much. Yay! Bang Yang Jin, at the moment my books are in JP Books, which is in the West Side, and also Academic and High School Bookshop, which is in also the West Side. So it's just in those two bookstores right now. So if you wanted to go ahead and grab them, feel free to. You can also grab them online. So if you just head to my website, vcstudyguides.com, you actually find it there. But they'll be coming to more bookstores very, very shortly. So thank you so much for being here, guys. I really enjoyed this. And I must say, I actually really enjoy doing these live videos more than actually filming. Oh, Link Education, I'm actually talking to them now. So hold off on that one. I'll let you know when they're in those bookstores. Thank you so much, guys. I will definitely do another live video because I really enjoyed this. Probably once a month will be my go-to, but I'll let you know on the times. And yeah, guys, you guys are awesome. If you wanted to share this channel around, please feel free to. I have made a personal goal for myself, and I would really, really like for this channel to grow in the next year. I started this channel just thinking I'd help around 1,000 subscribers, and now it's like at 15K, which is ridiculous. But I think it's kind of cool that people are really like listening to the advice that I'm sharing and my experiences in English. So having said that, I'm really keen to amp up this channel, focus a lot on it throughout the remainder of this summer and into next year. So yeah, please feel free to share this channel with your friends. I'd really, really appreciate that. I'm hungry, so I'm gonna go eat a mango now. Summertime! And yeah, look, I will clean this up, and in our next live video, I will give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek. How about that? Okay? I hope you guys enjoy an amazing rest of your Sunday, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye, guys!